I'm back. Let me start this the way I started the other one. How many of you have seen Interview with the Vampire on AMC? Big fan base here, okay. We have season 2 here to talk about, which actually debuted last June. And I'm happy to say there's going to be a season 3, fans. There's going to be a season 3. Before we show you a little clip from it, I want to introduce one of the stars from Interview with the Vampire, and he is a terrific actor. He plays Lestat. Please welcome Sam Reid. Welcome, Sam. All right, have a seat. And the executive producer of the show, you may know him from his credits for sure. He is the Oscar-winning producer of Rain Man, my favorite movie of all time, My Dog Skip, but I won't go into why, but I love My Dog Skip. The Notebook, Bugsy, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Natural, last year nominated for Best Picture again for The Holdovers. On television, Breaking Bad, you may have heard of that show, Better Call Saul, and this whole Anne Rice franchise that goes even beyond Interview with the Vampire. It is all produced here by Mark Johnson. Welcome, guys, and congratulations on now 2 seasons that we've had on AMC, Mark, of Interview with the Vampire. Tell me, before I show a clip from this season, how you got involved in doing this. Of course, everyone knows the books and all of that, and of course the film, the very famous film with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise from 1994. But for television and for AMC, how did this come about?
Well, I owe it all to AMC. And I have been working with them for some time because of, as you mentioned, Better Call Saul and Rain Man, Breaking Bad, and
I
Rectify.
want to see Rain Man on AMC this year.
Right. And Rectifying a show called Halt and Catch Fire. So I have this long history with AMC, and they asked me if I wanted to be involved in the Anne Rice books, and I realized I didn't really know them, so I did some very quick reading and thought, oh, there's some wonderful things to do here, and then almost immediately ran into Roland Jones, who is the genius behind Interview with the Vampire, our show, and we talked about it, and I realized what I really wanted to do was the Roland Jones version of Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire.
Of the first book, which is what the first 2 seasons really sort of split up, are covering what she did in the first book. Was that always the intention?
No, initially the very first season was going to basically encompass what we did in seasons 1 and 2, and we realized it was way too ambitious. And the whole idea, those of you who've seen the show, the second episode takes place almost exclusively, I guess, in Europe, mostly in Paris, and we just realized that we were biting off more than we could possibly chew, and there was so much story and so much compelling, just the compelling love relationship. You know, season 1 is one of the most beautiful love stories, forget about that I've been involved in, but that I've seen.
Other than The Notebook.
Yeah, but that works a little bit.
Let's take a look at Interview with the Vampire. Anne Rice.
I, a vampire, was being hunted with every breath, every heartbeat, every sidelong glance. Louis was saying, "Come to me."
Come to me? Those are his words. He kept coming around after me. Come to me! Fuck you!
Appetite.
Come to me! He said it to me.
How that it was not your own voice, Louis, speaking your own unspeakable desires, screaming them in the darkness in the hopes that I would come to you.
Way to go, Sam. Previous to this series, the vision I had of Lestat cinematically was Tom Cruise. What did you think about stepping into a role that Tom Cruise made so famous 30 years ago?
It's quite daunting, really, I say. But I think we were always approaching this, well, when I read the script, I knew it was a very different adaptation to the film, which I love. I love that movie. So it's something that you don't want to touch. But I think there's points where you can reference some kind of very iconic moments that he did, because he built a character that exists in a lot of people's consciousness, and you shouldn't really take that away from people. But we definitely based this show on the whole breadth of her books, and so I could go back and look at the books in different points that the movie didn't really get to touch. So it was daunting, but it was also like I've just kind of have to compartmentalize that and not focus on it too much.
I always wonder that with actors, when you have the benefit of diving into a role and you have all of this backstory, as they say in the business, with the books and everything, that may not be on the page on the scripts you're handed, the scripts for the episodes and things. How helpful was that for you in developing your version of Lestat?
It's incredibly helpful, actually. I was thinking about this the other day. There was an exercise that they used to make us do at drama school where they taught you how to create a moment that exists inside a character's mind that the audience doesn't necessarily see, but you see a thought process. And we would look at text, look at a book, and you would learn the whole passage of the book, and then you would think it, and they would film it, or you'd see it. And it's kind of the same process with this. So I look at a scene that Roland has adapted, and then I look at Anne Rice's original material, and then I'll probably play them both at the same time, so that you have the backstory of what was originally there in the material in the mind of the character, and then we have Roland's adaptation kind of being presented foremost. So it's incredibly helpful. It's joyful, actually. Yeah.
Amazing. Can you talk a little bit about the casting that went into this, not just with Sam, but also with Jacob Anderson, who plays Louis, and then the rest of the cast? What was that like? What were you looking for?
Well, obviously, we wanted to do something different. We knew about the movie, of course, and we respected it, but that's not what we wanted to do. And again, I emphasize, what you see here is Roland Jones' version of Anne Rice. So we're starting from scratch, and we used an extraordinary casting director in the UK, Kate Rhodes-James. And she really cast the principal, the major characters, all out of Europe. The irony is that our two leads, one is Sam is Australian and Jacob is British, but we didn't have a guiding light that said this is the way it should be cast. We were completely open, and needless to say, it took a long, long time to do it. And at the end, I think certainly in season one we have this wonderful confluence of these international actors, and then a lot of New Orleans actors who peppered both the day players and some weeklies, and I'm exceptionally proud of the casting, actually in both seasons.
Yeah, it's interesting too. In this season, you're dead, and but you were alive in season one.
Well, he's always dead.
Yeah, well, I know, but you're dead. Yeah.
Did you say dead?
But he's not. But he's not dead.
Because he can't be dead.
No, yeah.
That's fascinating.
Well, because he's already dead. So.
Yeah. So let me ask you.
He's a specter, I suppose. Yeah.
Let me ask you, though, in playing this, in the difference, when you were the other version, and now you've come back in season 2, and you are in his mind. He is envisioning you for the audience, which I think is interesting. So how is it different playing the way you're in his mind as to the way you played it before?
Well, like I've had the great fortune to work pretty much 95% of this entire show with one other actor. So it's an extraordinary gift to have that, because you can build a rapport. And working with Jacob, throughout the whole series, meant that when we started to do this like dream stat, ghost Lestat, hallucinostat, whatever you want to call it, I was basically just providing a sounding board for my friend and my fellow actor and the extraordinary lead of this show to have a soliloquy with himself. And so how do we build this character that still honors Lestat and still has this like overarching looming presence over the show, which you kind of require him to have, but also provide Jacob and Louis the space to have a soliloquy and process his inner thoughts to be able to get him to the point at the end of the season where he has completely, changed and he has that incredible revelatory moment. So there's a lot of discussion in doing that. So we found a kind of way to do this dream stat, which was like, he's more like Louis. He's slightly, there's a softer element to it. There's a relationship that you can kind of sense. We didn't see in season 1 that perhaps Louis and Lestat were softer and kinder to each other. There was more delicate, sweet moments that he didn't want to talk about. It's that kind of stuff. And then obviously he comes back into the play, and that is, that's performative Lestat. That's Lestat playing the Lestat that everybody wants to see him be, which he obviously hates, But that's a trap. It's his own trap. Because he built the theater of the vampires. He built the concept of a vampire pretending to be a human being, pretending to be a vampire, which is such a trap within itself. And he continues to be trapped in this trap, for quite some time. So they're really fun layers, I think, in the show.
So great, and you can really see this could all be a souffle that falls if it's not for somebody with your level of talent here to bring this off.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, there's editing.
I
music, there's a lot of elements that come into a show like this, and I think Roland is such an artful leader, and he spends so much time in the editing room. I mean, this show is really crafted in the editing room. We give him as many options as we can possibly dredge out of our bodies in the short period of time they give us to shoot it, because it's a fast shoot. We shoot an episode like every 11 to 10 days. So it's a very fast, extreme, heady experience, and we just give him as many options as we possibly can, and then he crafts it. So, I don't think it's all based on the actors, yeah.
Mark, when you look at this, we know this is a television series on AMC, which, is great, but you don't have the budget you'd have on a major feature film on this scale of material. But you look at this show, and visually, it is astounding. It looks like a $200 million budget. It really does. How did you pull it off?
First of all, thank you for that. And I agree. I think we need it really force all of us, all of the executive producers, all of us to be as inventive and resourceful as possible. And
is that the other executive producers out there?
it's somebody I owe money to, clearly. But no, that's why we went to Prague. We didn't go to Paris. We would love to have shot in Paris, but Prague doubled for it, and I think we all understood that. There are other networks that would have spent a lot more money on this, and AMC, and I could not be more grateful for their support and their understanding of what we needed. And once again, we were so resourceful. Every last one of us, the actors, Roland, and we realized it is that saying, it all had to go on the screen. And I believe, I'm still not quite sure how we pulled it off, but I think we did.
Well, you definitely did, because as I mentioned in the beginning, AMC has renewed this for a 3rd season. And I'm not sure where you're at in the writer's room of it all, or creating where it's going to go. What are we looking at here?
The writers are busy working away, meaning Roland has no time to himself right now. And we are going to be shooting in Toronto, of all places, later in the year, not too far away. And so much of this season all rests on this man's shoulders.
Well, No pressure, Sam. I do know, and they have agreed to tell us everything that's going to happen in season 3. Not. But I do know this much. As it begins, as it will come out, we're going to see more of the musical side of Lestat in a rock band kind of way. Can you talk about what you know?
I mean, I probably can't talk about all that I know because I know too much to be able to be said here. But, you know, the second book opens in this very extreme, confronting, different way to the way that the first book read, and we're honoring that. So, you know, I think the rock star vampire is such a bizarre concept, and it's a, you know, something that we're attempting, and hopefully do it okay. Yeah.
Wow, forget about the Emmys. You could be at the Grammys.
I must say, the music has always been done by Daniel Hart, and Daniel Hart is really just bringing some extraordinary work to the new season. Yeah, I mean, this show rests so heavily on his music. It's so visceral, the way that the music can come in and kind of ride a wave for the audience. And so he's really having the time of his life, I think, writing these songs.
Well, this is a global phenomenon. Fans across the world are really into you can tell the social media, Mark, you know, that it's developing, and you have to give these shows time to find all of them around there. And how impressed are you with the reception from the fans globally on this?
Globally, fan sponsorship is just extraordinary, and sort of the having done this for a while, the reactions I'm getting from all over the world are really surprising. And not to, I guess, to clap ourselves on the back, you know, both seasons have gotten a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know that I've ever had anything that has been received so gloriously well, and I give this man a lot of credit for that.
That's so good. Well,
And the rest of the cast, I mean, as well. I don't know if it's really about me. It's, you know.
No, it's all you.
yeah.
you gotta think, you know, Delaney Hales, Asad Zaman, and Jacob Anderson, and Eric Bogosian, of course, as well. They're just incredible,
Fantastic.
joyful actors to work with.
So cool. Well, congratulations to you. We really look forward to season 3, which they won't tell me when, but I think it's going to be sometime next year that we'll be able to see that. And thank you both for coming out to Contenders today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Pete.